morning, everyone. Welcome into our preparing and sharing tax statements webinar for today. We are welcoming everyone in as we start. We've got a few people going to come in this morning, and we'll just start off with everyone saying in the chat where you're from, where you're joining in. I'm up here in Montana. My name is Chandler. I'm one of the CX team leads here, and I would love to see a little bit of chat going on, see who's joining us today, and we'll get started here in a couple of minutes once we have a few more people on. Welcome, Susan. Um, Very good. Well, I will go ahead and open this chat up over here in our other window. And we'll go ahead and get started here. Good morning, Patricia, Manuel. Hello, Preston and Chris. We are going to go ahead and get started here. We are the customer experience team, and our motto here for our team is to be by your side and for your growth. We strive to be customer centric, innovative, transparent, solution motivated, and partnered and invested in your success. So that's what we're here to do today, to help get you jump started for tax statement season as we are rolling into 2025. Another little moment to meet our team. My name is Chandler, and I am one of the CX support team leads here. And I have been here for almost 4 years. So plenty of tax statement seasons have come and gone, and I'm ready for another one this year. And then I do have Chris Parker here with us today. He's our support senior manager. He's going to be managing the chat and any of the Q&A questions that you guys submit, so that we make sure that any of your questions and comments get answered today. So thank you, Chris. Here's just a quick overview of our product suite. We've got lots of different options, but today we're going to be focusing on tax statements. Oh, one last bit of business before we get started. There is an option down at the bottom of your screen for Q&A. This is the best place to put any questions that you have, rather than the chat. It's just easier for us to see them in that Q&A section and get them answered properly so that they don't get lost. Perfect. So preparing for tax season. We really suggest that you officially run your tax statements on January 15th. And that's to make sure that all of our ACH bank transactions are settled. So that means that any donation that was given on December 31st, 2024, it will still count as a 2024 donation. It just will not show up on tax statements until it is deposited. And so that deposit time takes a little longer. And once that's cleared, then it will show on tax statements, excuse me. So that's why we say January 15th, to make sure that all of that extra stuff clears and you don't have any missing transactions on your tax statements. So we do also recommend, in the meantime, going ahead and doing a trial run of your statements. So it's really great to go ahead and do a trial run of statements to see how they work, how they function, make sure you're not missing any big chunks, and then you don't have to send those out. You can just do a practice run to see what it looks like and make any tweaks before you're ready to run the real ones on January 15th and send those out. Okay, I'm gonna move on here. So, how do you prepare for tax statements? So, a couple of things that you want to be really cognizant of is where to send your tax statements from. So, that may be from Tithely, that may be from Breeze, it may be from Elvanto or somewhere else. So, you really need to take into consideration where the majority of your transactions live. So, for example, in Tithely, if you use Tithely Giving, and all of your giving transactions are in there. And you also enter any manual transactions through admin batch giving within Tithely, then you want to run your tax statements in Tithely. If you use Breeze and you use Breeze Giving, then you want to run your tax statements in Breeze Giving, as that would be where all of your giving transactions are. And that will actually be a separate webinar later on. Um, if you run your tax statement, or sorry, if you run a integration from Tithely to Breeze and you enter manual transactions in Breeze, then you can also run your tax statements within Breeze. If you manually enter your transactions in Elvanto, you would want to run your tax statements in Elvanto. So if you have questions specifically about that, please put them in the chat and or the Q&A, and we'll be happy to walk through that with you. And then you always, if you have an integration and you're concerned that any transactions didn't make it over, our support team can always run an audit for you. And so if you email us at support@tithe.ly, we'd be happy to run that audit for you to make sure that all your transactions are in the right place. Um, so the other good preparation steps are to make sure that all of your donor data is up to date. And that means going into your people section and making sure that all of your addresses are up to date, any name changes that need to happen, anything like that, any email addresses, and making those changes there. And of course, the options to email or print statements, we will go through that together when we do the live demo. So creating and sending statements. Let's go ahead and do a full demo. So I'm going to go ahead and go into our demo account here. And so all the data that you see here is, fake data. So don't worry about any weird numbers or names that you see. That's just what happens in a demo account. So when you first log into your account, you will see the dashboard here, and we're going to go ahead and click on Giving. And we're going to then go to tax statements. So here's the main screen that you have for tax statements. And you've got generate and previous. So previous would be anything you've run last year. Earlier, you can see we had a 2023, etc. And you can delete these and you can also regenerate. So for example, this is a transaction, or this is a statement that I ran um, here on December 10th. And this is a way to see these previous ones that were already generated. But we're going to go ahead and start from scratch so that I can show you exactly each step to take. So select your year. This is really important because if you notice 2025 is already listed in here. So you want to make sure that you're doing 2024. And in some cases, if you decided you wanted to do quarterly or anything like that, you could also do a custom range. You could also pull a tax statement from a previous year if you were needing to backtrack it all. So you could always do a custom range and do, quarterly, etc. And then of course your locations, this is important as well. So if you have multiple locations and you click all locations, then all of the transactions given to any of the locations, for example, if I had given to both Mosaic Columbus and Mosaic Cincinnati, they will both show on the same tax statement. If I just run Mosaic Cincinnati, then just those transactions will show on that one. So that's important as well if you have multiple locations. In this case, I'm going to run all locations, excuse me, and go ahead and generate those statements. Here's another option here. We have household versus individual. So if you have chosen to use households within the people module over here on the left, then you can run these statements by household, which means that anyone within, say, the Parker household would be collected into one statement and it would all be placed together. Individual means that, the husband and wife would both get a separate statement. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do household so that I can show you the difference. And then we do have the hide memo option. It's automatically off, and you can turn that on to hide those memos. And then if you have any trouble with date formatting, you may want to double check your time zone selected here. And then we're going to continue to cover letters. So you'll title your cover letter statement here. This will be your subject line. And then this grayed out text here, this is what will be automatically entered into your tax statement if you leave this box blank. If you were to type, if you were to start typing into this box, then this is what would be included as your disclaimer. And that's a little note here if in case anyone forgets. But if you delete that, then your automatic comes in there. You will need to fill in your church name, your tax ID, address, and then an administrator who's doing the tax statements, as well as their signature. So you will have an upload option for the signature, and you will be able to include that. That is required for tax statements. I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. And the awesome thing about this is that we now have a way to send you a notification when your tax statements are ready. Sometimes they take a little while to generate, especially depending on how large your campus is. It may take, or your church is, it may take a while for those. So you can choose to send or don't send when when the statements are ready to be viewed. So in this case, I can show you here that these statements are generating. And so I'm going to go ahead and look at a previously generated one just so we don't have to waste time here. So we'll go ahead and look at these. And you can see here's your list of statements. So one thing to note is that these did not automatically send out. These were just generated, and now you get to choose what to do with them from here. So a couple of things that you will notice is the little paper airplane icon. This is the send button. It's similar up here, the email button, as well as the print button. And then we've got, there's this indicator showing that there's no email. So there is no email address on file for this, for Kinsey. Therefore, you cannot send her statement. Excuse me. Apologies. Getting over an illness, and I apologize about that. So what we want to do right now is I just want to go ahead and look at a statement that includes a few transactions. So we're going to go ahead and look at John here, and I'm going to hit print, and this is a way for you to preview that statement. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this statement. This is what it would look like if I were to hit print. So it's got our logo here, the church name. This is the donor's email and this is the donor's name and information. And then this is your disclaimer and the signature here. Then it gives you the total, the organization details, and then here's each transaction broken down by fund, etc., and included in, so we've got lots of transactions here to look at. So that is one way that you can view and see if that statement is accurate, is by doing the print preview. I'm going to back up here. So you may be asking, okay, what are all of these different Johns here? There's so many of them. Well, that would be because they all have different email addresses. And so that would be something that you want to do in the merge options in people. And so if you were to go into people and you would see this merge button, you can do it from here as well. You have this merge button and you will see there's several bubs. So you would click onto this and you would pick which one was the main one, and they would merge together, and then you would want to regenerate your statements so that they are able to be merged together into one statement. I'm going to go back over to my giving, back over to my statements, and I'm going to go see if, yeah, okay, so this is the new transaction, or the new statement transaction that I ran here just now on January 7th. I apologize. I'm going to go ahead and click into that one because I want to show you the difference in the households. So if I come down and look at, I believe Jessica has a household here. It will show you, let me see. Nope, she does not. I apologize. It would show Jessica. It would actually show the Holtkamp family if it had a statement for um, multiple people within the family. So I don't have any households set up. So unfortunately, I cannot show you that. I do apologize. I thought I did. Oh, yes, I do. Sorry. Here it is. So we'll look at the Holtkamp family here. So you can tell the difference between, this is Jessica. She's listed separately, and that means that she was not merged into a household, whereas this is listed as households. So we'll take a look at the engineers here. And I'm going to print this one so that I can preview it with you. And you can see that it actually shows the engineers. So that's just their household name. And then it's got the 3 names here. And so we've got the ability to see each donation here and which donor that was. So we've got Logan, Bo, etc. on the side here, but they are all merged in together. If you had selected individual, then Bo and Logan would have gotten separate tax statements. So that is the difference between household and individual. Now, if we go up here and we click print all, it will go ahead and pull you a big old PDF, and you can save this as a PDF to your desktop, or you can, of course, print them out with your printer, and you will have all of your statements. So one thing I do want to caution you is if you do choose to do two-sided printing, be careful because you may have several that are perfectly 2 pages, and then you may have one that has, several transactions that make it 3 pages. And so you just need to be careful and look through those before printing them all. They also should fit in a number 9 envelope with a window so that this, when folded properly, will fit right into that envelope, and you should be able to mail those out. If I were to select email all, we get this notification. Choose how to deal with missing email addresses. So we really have a policy of trying not to leave any donor behind. We don't want to leave any donation, any tax statement without being able to be delivered. So your 2 options here are print statements for donors that don't have an email address. And if you remember, the ones that don't have an email address have this indicator. And if not, you can add email addresses for donors without emails. So example, this donation did not include an email address. So I would put in an email address here and hit continue, and it would show me the next one until you get to the point where you can go ahead and email all of those out. So I'm going to go ahead and do the print option. And so great. As soon as I hit that, I say we've emailed 30 statements and generated 1 statement as a PDF for you to print. So only one of those statements didn't have a way to be sent out. So then I would print the 1 statement, and then I could go back to my dashboard. So a lot of people now ask us, is there an indicator of how, if the emails were sent out? No, we do not currently have a visibility into that, nor do we have a visibility into if it was delivered or opened, etc. That is something that the Tithely support team can help with if you're concerned that many of them were not delivered or anything like that. But the best thing to do is to reach out to your donors and say, hey, I sent these out. If you didn't receive it, let me know. I can always resend it. So to resend, someone reaches out and says, I can't find mine, etc. You just go in and find, so if we were starting from scratch, you would find your previously created batch, click into here, go to, scroll down, find the person, and then hit the little send button and hit send now. And that would then send them a second copy of that tax statement. Okay, that is about it for generating statements. So we're going to jump to some FAQs here. Okay, so one of the main questions we get are, some of my donations are missing from my statements. Where did they go? So you want to double check your giving funds are set to tax deductible. And if that doesn't work, then contact support. So what does that mean? I'll go ahead and show you an example. If I go in here, go to giving and go to fund management, you can see that my funds are set as tax deductible. However, if I had come in here and decided that the tithe fund, for whatever reason, was no longer tax deductible and I saved these changes, any funds that were given for the tithe fund would now no longer be tax deductible and would not show up on a tax statement. So it's really, really critical to make sure that your funds are all set to tax deductible to be able to then get sent over to the tax statements and printed out onto the statement form. Okay. Will a donation given on December 31st count for 2024 statements? Yes. But again, it will not show up on a statement until it's been deposited, which is again why we recommend waiting until January 15th. When I generate statements, does it automatically send? No, you must choose to email all or print all. And that is not automatically done. When you hit generate, you're just generating them and you can view them. You do have to do that extra step of sending or printing all. Is there a way to see the status of what statements have been sent via email? Again, we do not have a visibility tool into this just yet. We hope to someday. But if you're worried about it, simply contact your donor and see if they received it. If not, you can always check with Tithely as well, and we can check deliverability on our end. And then are tax statements Canada Revenue Authority compliant? Yes. We've worked extensively with the CRA to ensure compliance. So if you are in Canada and your organization is registered in Canada, your requirements on the tax statement page when you generate will be just slightly different. And that does include the requirements that the CRA is asking for. So you should be good there. Other than that, we will, let me just check through the chat really quick to see if there was anything else that we might need to do. Chris, if there were any questions that came up that you thought might need to be answered, please let me know. No questions. Awesome. All right. Looks like we are good to go then. Does anybody have any questions they want to toss in the chat real quick? I'll give it another minute or so. If not, we can go ahead and end early and call it a day. Awesome. Well, if you have any further questions for us, you can always email us at support@tithe.ly. Our support teams are always available to assist you with any questions you have about statements, any questions you have about integrations, anything to do with Tithely, Breeze, Alvanto. We are more than happy to help you. So please utilize our support teams. And then we always want to put a plug in here to join our Facebook groups. It's really great to have a community of users that you are able to bounce ideas off of and get other options. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. And this recording will be available to rewatch on our university page, as well as you should receive a recording in your email. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.